let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so for today's video, I have some beginner yarn that I received off of Amazon. The link will be down below for this. This came in many different colors. They're tiny little skeins, but you can make a project out of each of these. And I use it as extra yarn for when I'm doing crochet kits like the woobles or anything else that I like to work up in beginner yarn like amigurumi. Pot holders work really good with this because it is cotton. It is not acrylic. Yeah, this one's cotton and nylon. So it works up quite nicely. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I did pick this color. I hope that it works well with the video. Actually, I just wanted to show you the label for this one, but we're actually going to be using this color today. So this is just some beginner yarn that I picked up on Amazon, like I said, and it's 68% cotton. This is a 25-gram skein, so they're just little skeins. I think I got 15 in the bag. It was something like that. Wasn't too much for it. It works with the woobles and other crochet kits. When I do amigurumi, I do like the beginner yarn for amigurumi, so I often buy off of Amazon, and then I will make the patterns that I have collected for woobles. Thanks again for joining me today. So I just wanted to show you that I picked up some beginner yarn at Amazon. This is what I'm actually using. It's from Joytag, machine washable. Don't bleach, don't iron, don't dry clean, but you can put it in the washer and the dryer. This is a 25-gram skein. It's a very small skein. And we won't actually be using this color today. So what we will be using is we are going to be using this, which is the same as this, it's just a different color. I thought it would show up better on the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. And I am using a 4mm hook. You will chain 2 plus 1 for this swatch that we would be doing. However, I'm going to do a very small swatch. 6, 7, and 8 plus 1. I'm doing a 9. So I'm going to skip this first stitch and go into this next one, and we're going to do a single crochet. And to be respectful of time, I will see you when I am done with the row. Okay, now that we have our row of single crochets done, so now we're going to start on row 2. So we're going to go ahead and turn our work. The pattern does call for chaining 1 and turning. If you prefer to do it that way, I definitely support that. However, I do not do it that way. I will just go into the next stitch. It does not affect my edges or my work. So if you want to chain 1 and turn, by all means do so. I don't think it really affects anything here. Okay, so now that we have our row of single crochet done, the pattern does call for a chain 1 and turn. I find that this is a personal preference. If you want to chain one and turn your work, I definitely support it. However, I do not do it that way. So I am going to just turn my work, and I'm going to start in this first stitch right here. But instead of going under the stitch, I'm actually going to go into the back loop, which is this leg right here. So I'm going to go under that leg, the one that my fingernail is supporting, and I'm going to do a single crochet. Bring back my loop. Okay. So I'm going to go under that leg, yarn over, pull up the loop. I have 2 on my hook, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that is the back loop only. So we're going to go ahead and do it again into that back leg right there. We're going to yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over, pull through 2. I do apologize. I think my camera's a little off here. Let's try that one more time, shall we? All right. So into the next stitch, the back loop, just like that. I think my zoom needs to be on as well. And slide our hook underneath. We're going to yarn over, pull up the loop, hold our work. We have 2 on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, and last stitch, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through 2. And as you can see, when you do the back loop only, it creates this ridge, this texture, if you will. This is what it looks like from the back. And it creates that ridge in the front and almost folds your work in half. It feels like it wants to fold. This makes for a very nice edging. It also makes for a very nice break in between the wheat stitches, the 2 rows of wheat stitches that give it the look that it does. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next row. And in the next row, I'm going to teach you how to do the wheat stitch. Now, when I show you the swatch with the new yarn, we do a 4-row repeat. So you'll do everything that I just did here, where we go ahead and make the chain. We're going to go ahead and single crochet across the row, and then we're going to single crochet in the back loop only for the next row. They also call this, when you crochet into the chain, the back loop only. So you may hear that term also. So it's technically chaining and then 2 rows of single crochet in the back loop only. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on the next row. So we're going to go ahead and go into this first stitch here, and we're going to make a single crochet. So we are going to begin the row and we're going to end the row with single crochets. So now that we have started with the single crochet, we're going to skip this next stitch. We're going to go into this stitch, this third stitch right here, or the second stitch from the single crochet we just made. We're going to go in there, we're going to yarn over, pull up our loop, and complete our single crochet. Okay. Now we want to go underneath the stitch we just skipped. So if you pull this apart, you see that there is this stitch right here. There is this hole underneath it. Right there. This is the stitch we just skipped, because that is the stitch that we just made. So this is the stitch that we just skipped, so we're going to be putting our hook right in here after yarning over. So we're going to be doing it twice, and I just want to make this very clear. You're going to be yarning over and going right into this hole right here. It's diagonal from the stitch that you just made. It's underneath the stitch that we just skipped. It's going to be very difficult for you to see with the yarn that I'm going to show you, so that's why we're using this yarn. So in this hole right here, we're going to yarn over. We're going to put our hook right into there. We're going to yarn over again. We're going to stretch and pull up that loop. We want it to look like that. Okay, but we're not done. We're going to yarn over and go right back into that very same hole. Yarn over again. You're going to have 5 on your hook, like so. Now we're going to yarn over. We're going to pull through 4, leaving 2, sorry about that, leaving 2 on our hook. This is a part of our wheat stitch, so we're going to yarn over and complete the stitch now. Okay, let's go ahead and do that again. So we're not going to go into this stitch. This is the stitch that we are skipping. This is the stitch we're going to make our next single crochet. So we just go in there, make our single crochet, and now we get to pull this apart again. So not this big hole that you see right here, but the stitch that we just skipped. So right there. That's the stitch that we just skipped. So we're going to be going into that hole right there to make our modified puff stitch. Now you can see the legs of your wheat stitch come together. This is only 1/2 of the wheat stitch plus your border, but this looks pretty nice so far. It's coming together. Let's go ahead and continue on. So we're going to skip this stitch right here. We're going to go into this stitch right here. And then for this last stitch that you see on the row, we're just going to do a single crochet like I mentioned earlier. So we skip, do a single crochet into that stitch, come back here, and in that stitch right there, because that's the stitch we skipped, yarn over, pull up the loop, as you can see it's attached right there, yarn over, go back into that stitch, pull up, 5 on the hook, pulling through 4, pulling through 2. Okay, for this final stitch right here, we're just going to go in here. It's the thing about beginner yarn is it likes to tighten up. There we go. Now you can see it a little bit better. Okay, so go in there, and just make a single crochet, and that keeps your edge nice and neat. And that is the modified puff stitch, which is half of the wheat stitch. Now we would go down, we would go ahead and turn our work, and we would continue on to do the same across the row, the same as this, to make the completed wheat stitch. So again, we would go into here, into this first stitch right here, do a single crochet real fast, skip this next stitch, go into the third stitch, bring up a single crochet, yarn over, because we're going to go back to that skipped stitch, which is right here. It's so hard to see if you're not sure of what you're looking for. So this is the row that we are creating, and this is the row that we just created. So we've got to find the stitch in the row below, and that is this one right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over and go into that, yarn over and pull up those 3, yarn over, back into that. Nope, my yarn is messing up a little bit here. Yarn over, pull through 4, yarn over, pull through 2. Oh, it straightened itself out. Nice. Okay, so we skip this next stitch here and do a single crochet right here. Can you see where the next stitch goes? It's not here or here. It's right underneath here. Because that is the stitch that got skipped. Okay. Let me tighten up my yarn here. Yarn over, we're going to go right into that stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up 3. Yarn over again, go back into that stitch, yarn over again. Yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, again, we're going to skip this stitch right here. We're going to go into this stitch. Just a single crochet right there. This is the stitch that got skipped. This hole right here where my nail is now coming through is where we're going to go ahead and yarn over and put our next stitch. So yarn over and pull up the loop. 3 on our hook. You can see where it's coming out of now. Yarn over, back into that stitch. Yarn over, pulling up the 5. And pay no attention to the beginner yarn. It loves to stretch out like this. When I'm showing you, it's a little bit different than if I was just working this up myself, because I pause, I stretch the stitch to show you, things like that. So mine gets a little muddled up. Okay, so now we're going to yarn over, pull through 4, have 2 on our hook, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, so we have 1 stitch left to go, and this time we are just going to put our hook in underneath both legs of the stitch and do a single crochet, and that keeps our edge nice. Ta-da! All right, so that is the modified puff stitch, which in turn, when you do 2 rows of it, that is the wheat stitch. This is the border. You can have it on both sides, and that is what I'm going to do next. So now we're going to go ahead and turn our work. We are going to go underneath the back loop, yarn over, pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through 2. We are going to do that for the rest of the row. To give you a better idea, it's these ones right here that I am pulling up. These are where we are going to make those single crochets. And once I have completed this row, I will be right back to show you. Okay, so I just did 2 rows of back loop only on this side, and now you can see that it makes a very nice edge to the wheat stitch. If you follow this 4-row repeat, there is a pattern that I believe I can link it below, that you can use to go ahead and make the cup cozy, and you can also make pumpkins. All right, so now I'm really excited to show you the yarn that I discovered and to work up a swatch. I realize that this yarn may not be new to everybody, but I discovered this on Amazon recently and decided to try it out. It was $10 a skein. It's Melody by YarnArt. It is a yarn that has to be hand washed and laid flat to dry, so you don't want to put this in the washer or the dryer. It does take a 5mm hook, and it is a bulky 5-weight yarn. There's the label for you. So it's a blend of polyamide, acrylic, and wool. Lot 825, and it looks like color 901. There is more information there if you're interested in looking at their website. I did already make up a swatch of this, but I wanted to make up a second one with all of you. And here is the swatch. This is absolutely gorgeous. The yarn is super soft. It has a little bit of a black fuzzy halo, but doesn't do anything to diminish these beautiful colors, obviously. I really love how the wheat stitch with the border worked up with this yarn. And I'm super excited to get started. Okay, so I bought 2 skeins of this and I've already opened one. I'm using the recommended 5.0mm hook. This is the swatch that I had made up. Works really well as a hook holder for the furls. Once I make the slip knot and I go ahead and do my row of chaining, I will also do a single row of single crochet. It will not be featured in this video. I will be skipping ahead to the second row. For this segment of the video, I'm going into the back loop only, and I am pulling up a loop and making a single crochet all the way across. onto the last of the back loops, doing my last single crochet. I love the ridge that this makes by going into the back loop only. So we're now going to turn our work, and we are now going to start the row for the first half of the wheat stitch. So again, I'm going into that first stitch right there, and I'm going to make a single crochet. You start the row and end the row with a single crochet. And we're not going to go underneath this next stitch, this blue stitch. We will actually be going into the purple stitch to make a single crochet yarning over and finishing that out. Okay, so that skipped stitch is actually this blue circle right here where my nail is coming through. For those that are new to this stitch, this yarn doesn't make it easy to see. I'm not saying that you can't do this. I'm simply saying that you have to be very careful where you put your hook, because the puff stitch, the modified puff stitch, which is half of the wheat stitch, won't turn out correctly if it's not in the right stitch. Okay, so I'm yarning over. I have 3 on my hook. I will now be yarning over and going right back into that stitch, that blue circle that you see there. Back into there, yarning over. Now I have the 5 on my hook. And I love that it's kind of color coded here. I have the original purple stitch on my hook, and then I have 4 blue stitches, which is what I'm going to pull through when I yarn over here. It's kind of color coded. That's kind of nice. So I have 2 on my hook. I'm going to go ahead and yarn over and pull through 2. I am going to finish out this swatch, and I will be right back to show you what it looks like. Okay, so this is the completed swatch. I am super excited. The swatch that I made before this video and this one turned out to be gorgeous. Both of them are just slightly unique, but they are both very, very beautiful. I am very pleased with this yarn. Let's look at this for a moment here. So this is the back side. And these, the one on the right is the one that I made before this video, and the one on the left of your screen is the one that I currently made with you. Both turned out absolutely gorgeous. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, happy stitching!